What's a microaggression? Let's find out.
Ew! Get off of me!
Sophie, go with the little girls room for a minute, okay? Gonna be some things that you're gonna be able to get that other people in the office don't get. One of them, gym membership.
Hey, you want me to lose weight?
No, I don't want you to.
No, you're missing on the site. That's what you're doing. We're missing the action.
Oye, sabrosura. You want to have some ice cream with my friend of me?
Get lost, greaseball.
Microaggressions are along a continuum from being very deliberate and conscious to being outside one's conscious behavior. We identified 3 types of microaggressions. Microassaults, which are very similar to old-fashioned racism.
Your kind don't understand English. My kind?
The other types of microaggressions are more insidious, hidden, subtle, and the second type is a micro-insult. A couple of color comes into a restaurant to be seated. They're seated in a more undesirable place than a white couple who might be coming in.
Did you see any white people in there waiting an hour and 32 minutes for a plate of spaghetti? Huh? And how many cups of coffee did we get?
You don't drink coffee, and I didn't want any.
Man, that woman in there poured cup after cup to every single white person around us. But did she even ask you if you wanted any?
A micro-invalidation assailed their racial identity and self-esteem. Let's say African Americans, they are dangerous and criminal.
You see that?
What? She's cold.
She got colder as soon as she saw us, though.
Oh, man, come on, don't stop.
Man, look around you, man. You couldn't find a whiter, safer, or better lit part of this city right now.
There can be racial microaggressions, sexual orientation microaggressions, disability microaggressions, and gender microaggressions. Catcalls, staring at a woman's breasts or legs. It's a microaggression because it fulfills the theme of what we call sexual objectification.
Yep.
I love the fact that you're a grandmother.
Oh, God!
You are! You're a hot grandma!
Oh, my God!
Environmental microaggressions
Such a
are
good movie,
a
man.
hostile and invalidating climate. If you choose to stay, you will be uncomfortable.
Yo, Mook! Mookie!
What?
Come you got no brothers up on the wall?
Man, ask Sal, right?
Hey, Sal, how come you got no brothers up on the wall here?
You want brothers on the wall? Get your own place. You can do what you want to do.
Yeah,
Damn.
I'm making trouble.
Who's coming in here looking for trouble? Suppose I busted your head.
Microaggressions are cumulative, and any one may represent the feather that breaks a camel's back.
Near the bush, you said you were going to get Jose to do it.
He your garden, and why you don't tell him?
Lucy, you know I don't speak Mexican.
I'm not a Mexican.
How unpopular Vietnam was. I'm not Vietnamese, I'm American.
Ooh, you think I'm gay? Aren't you? What's the matter with you? Do I look gay to you?
Damn.
Do I look gay to you?
You're a good-looking man.
Thank you.
Very pretty. Real soft, delicate features. They're real feminine, you know, which is good for me because that would be a simple sort of transition, you know what I'm saying? Maybe
All right.
A little rouge on ya. Tuck your sack.
So we got some pretty good examples of what microaggressions are, right? There's also a personal experience by this guy.
I was in Kroger at the self-checkout line. The woman supervising the area was on her phone while several other people were checking out. So I walk up to the next open machine and begin checking out myself. I notice in my peripheral vision that she looks up, sees me, and then gets up, walks to the center of the self-checkout area and watches me as I check out. Pretending to be on her phone, she literally watches me scan the 6 items I had, put in my credit card, and the second the transaction cleared and the receipt started printing out, she conveniently went back to her station. No eye contact, no acknowledgement outside of her presence lurking as if I was gonna steal. My movements were relaxed and steady. My dress was casual, yet clean, and nothing about me or my appearance screamed criminal, except the color of my skin. And this isn't the first time. I found a note in my phone that I wrote just a few months after moving to the South, and it was nearly identical. That time, I scanned and bagged each item in an exaggerated fashion in an effort to make them feel stupid for thinking that I was a thief. This is just one example of the thousands of microaggressions that Black and brown people have to deal with on a daily basis. The stares, the clutch bags in the stores or the elevators, the looks of fear or confusion or disgust. It's exhausting to have to be hyper aware of our surroundings and the way that we're perceived in every situation. Being careful of the words I use and the way I move. Constantly mindful of how I'm perceived to avoid conflict. Not feeling comfortable enough to take an evening walk in the neighborhood I pay taxes in. Or a day hike in the woods because I now reside in a state that still believes the Civil War was a disagreement over states' rights. Sure, the states' rights to own slaves. I'm not surprised that it still happens. I'm just disappointed that we're not where we should be. Do I think we can get there? Honestly, I don't think so anymore. But do I hope I'm wrong? Every day.
Racism is still with us, but it is up to us to prepare our children for what they have to meet, and hopefully we shall overcome. Rosa Parks. I don't ever have to think about that. I, a mainly straight, cisgender, white male, I don't have to think about that, right? I don't ever experience that. I was literally at Kroger earlier today getting groceries. The only thing that I felt uncomfortable with was honestly my hat, me more veteran. I didn't take a shower yet. I knew my hair was going to look nasty and greasy, so I just wore this, you know, had it backwards. And I was like, fuck, dude, I hope I don't offend any fucking veterans in here or anything, or old people. Other than that, nothing really came to mind. I just kind of went about my business as usual. Privilege.
Hey, bro, I just ordered Hogwarts Legacy.
Excuse me, nigga!
What's good, bro?
Bro ain't my pronouns, bitch. Did you really just say you getting that motherfucking Hogwarts game?
Yes, ma'am.
If you buy Hogwarts Legacy, read any of the books, have any of the merchandise, watch any of those fucking movies, you are contributing to transphobia.
Jesus Christ, how?
Because J.K. Rowling is a transphobe and Harry Potter is deeply rooted in transphobia. Everything J.K. Rowling does, including breathe, is transphobic.
Well, what did J.K. Rowling say exactly?
I don't fucking know. I never researched it. All I know is she's transphobic based on the Twitter feeds of my peers.
Oh, gosh darn it. Well, I don't want to be transphobic. I mean, I heard though there wasn't any transphobia in the game. Did you play it?
Listen, I don't have to play a game to know that it's transphobic and harmful to trans persons.
How are trans persons being harmed by other people playing a video game that more than likely doesn't have transphobia in it at all?
It's harmful to our rights. And it's making us upset that people are playing the game, and it just sets us back 400 years.
Well, I'm pretty sure people aren't thinking about trans persons in a derogatory way while playing a video game.
Have you seen Twitter? No one is
God.
taking us serious. They keep saying that they're gonna buy the game anyway, and they're saying that we're reaching. Has anyone in the LBGT ever reached on Twitter?
Oh. Do you like Disney?
Lack of trans representation, but I suppose.
Well, Walt Disney was a racist. Like a literal Nazi. But years later, all the TV and films are hella inclusive. J.K. Rowling may or may not have said something transphobic, but years later, due to prior events, the Hogwarts Legacy is all inclusive. You know? So I think Walt Disney and J.K. Rowling kind of go hand in hand.
Okay. If I can be fair, what you're saying is J.K. Rowling is also a racist Nazi and a transphobe. Oh, I'm telling Twitter right now.
That's what it looks like to miss the forest for the trees. Alright, so I put out a video a couple days ago, It's actually doing fairly well. It's got 268 views over the past 2 days. It's not doing too bad. It's doing pretty well. Still a lot of shit in there. And to be fair, a fellow cultist put down a comment. This is a huge L. The crux of your main point is self-defeating. The argument that it is not a tall ask is a self-defeating argument because it contains the implication that wouldn't matter either way because it is just a small thing. J.K. Rowling already got the lion's share of the wealth from this game before a single copy was sold, telling someone, I don't know why I didn't go on. Not to mention the argument that you should appeal to the community of marginalized people is a terrible one because X marginalized group is not a monolith, nor does it guarantee that all people in that group are going to hold progressive values. For example, which black person do you defer to? Abram X? I'm sorry, I'm afraid I don't know who that is. Kendi? I also am afraid that I don't know who that is. Or Candace Owens, who I know way too much about. I'm pretty sure I know which one you would appeal to. I actually don't, but I know who I wouldn't. But with the logic of appealing your opinion to the marginalized instead of having grounded axioms and principles, then Candace Owens and Abram X. Kendi has equally valid points. They obviously don't. This is why your video has failed to convince me that playing Hogwarts Legacy is a major sin on Silvervale's part. Otherwise, Silvervale's lying is disgusting, and you should have not held anything back. She is a transphobe and should be excised from Twitch. I say this as a longtime fan who has been in your chat and will continue because you make some excellent and unique videos, which I very much appreciate. Thank you for the kudos. It feels a little bit like a backhanded compliment, but at the same time, I feel like I know where they're coming from, and so I appreciate it. I want to make it clear that we are a cult of said that wrong. We are an anti-cult cult, right? Anti-cult personality. If I say something or do something that is wrong, I want to be called out for it. I have been called out for it. I have been corrected by my own community. And so I'm not repellent to criticism. I might get like a little bit of a bruised ego or, feel a little bit attacked or something, maybe at first, but like after some time, if there is some valid point to, the criticism, I'll be like, oh, well, I'm sorry, that you have a good point there. I'll change my views or I'll look into it more. You know what I'm saying? Like I have humility, right? My response was the following. Yeah, I didn't imply trans people were a monolith. I stated in the video you could have done a poll in Discord or Twitter with your community, and if you don't want me to play it, I won't play it, quote unquote. I also pointed out, hi Earthling. Hi, hello. We just went over your comment. I also pointed out how Silver is quite obviously apolitical, at least in practice, and so part of the point of the video was also to point out how nobody can afford to be a fence sitter anymore, with issues such as transgenocide happening currently, and the least that, not I, but many in the trans community asked, hey, don't play this game, please. A transphobe who doesn't like that we exist made it. But then people still played it. Silvervale still played it. And though I don't have proof of this, I do not believe that she, as a quite apparent hardcore Harry Potter fan, is somehow unaware of J.K. Rowling's transphobia. And she still chose to support the IP. Sure, maybe some of my points could have been communicated more clearly. They could have. But at the end of the day, the point here is that she obviously thinks her selfish love for a fictional franchise is more important than standing in solidarity with those that the maker of said franchise, who would gleefully celebrate if trans people were made to no longer exist. The same demographic asking for solidarity, and a very easy one at that. Just don't play the game. That's it. I get what you mean, but to be honest, I think you might have jumped the gun a bit here. And yes, always go for the marginalized member of a marginalized community whose values bend towards justice and human progress over others of even the same community, because things like civil rights and human rights for all are, generally speaking, and just objectively correct. Enough of humankind agrees that progressive and left-leaning solutions are key to human progress that it's safe to say that it is a no-brainer to listen to one marginalized person over another. whether they're a part of that same community or not. Because in your example, admittedly, 2 of them I did not know who they were. In your example, there are morally and ethically measurable levels of perceivable and probable progress that could be logically deduced and rationally derived from an accurate and honest appraisal of each of those individuals' values and the implementation thereof. It's not hard for me to imagine the implementation of Candace Owens' politics and, say, Fred Hampton's, if he were still alive. Vast ocean of morals and ethics, both black, but only one is more intersubjectively correct, and it's not Candace Owens. I appreciate your support and your criticism, and you're valued in the cult as always, but I'm just going to have to disagree. Right? Okay. There was also another comment here that read as follows. This is becoming a huge mess. It's not just her. Pikami got harassed for it, even though she never planned to play it, and she disappeared. Nizuna is about to play it, but V Shoujo convinced her to take a break. That same company gets Silver to defend herself, but I can tell she handled it poorly. One day she's sad, then the next, she's having a jerk attitude and acting like nothing happened. I heard that she apologized to the trans community on Discord, but nothing else, not Twitter or Twitch, her main platform. Because of this, it's not streamers who are playing it that are harassed, it's also trans VTubers who are, even though they didn't do anything. For example, Nayamomo, a gender-fluid VTuber, ended up doxxed, like Silver claimed. And I believe Silvervale also got doxxed. I'll address that in a bit. This would have ended better if Silver handled it, apologized, told her community not to attack anyone, and moved on with their lives. Last thing, Rowling didn't have much royalties from the game. It goes to Avalanche. Rowling is a piece of shit. I get it. If you guys want to play a wizard game, go ahead, but don't do this because you side with Rowling and or minorities she hates. Just play it if you want to. Do it for you, not for her. And I said, this is probably the most reasonable take on this whole ordeal. That's a good take. That's a good take. Before I continue, I want one thing to be clear. I believe, don't have proof of it, but I believe that most people who play Hogwarts Legacy are just Harry Potter fans, okay? And I'm willing to acknowledge that. And I also believe that it's more than probable that Harry Potter fans who play Hogwarts Legacy aren't thinking to themselves, fuck trans people, as they're playing it. I don't think that's a thing that's happening. And as I said in the video, I'll say it again, I don't think boycotts work. I don't think the harassment is necessary. Doxing is never okay. There are definitely some bad actors in this whole thing on both sides. Both sides. I can't believe I'm doing both sides-ism, but here we are. There are people who are protesting the game who have, as mentioned, done fucked up shit. And then there are others that we're about to go over, which I think puts a little bit more perspective on what I was trying to say.
Popular Twitch VTuber Silvervale returned to her channel on February 22nd after a 5-day hiatus. She took a brief break from live streaming after being harassed for playing Hogwarts Legacy on her channel. The VTuber addressed the streaming community earlier today, announcing that she will continue broadcasting Avalanche Software's recently released title. She also called out those who bullied her, saying, "And I will not be bullied by a bunch of Twitter freaks with nothing better to do with their dang lives. Be nice to people. If you want to make changes, go make actual changes, instead of harassing streamers on the internet."
Okay. With that being said, that reminds me.
I don't understand what's going on. Isn't Harry Potter just bigger than J.K. Rowling at this point? No. Sorry, buddy. You're supporting a billionaire transphobe. Twitter will be hearing about this. Wait, what? You're using Twitter? What?
Oh, I made the same exact point.
By a billionaire transphobe? Hasn't he tweeted many times ridiculing the ideas of pronouns and all the other verbiage that trans people would consider?
Okay, what this guy fails to consider is that trans people really love posting on Twitter. But trans people certainly can stop consuming Harry Potter.
Yep.
Okay? And I think that is a misstep. Okay? They be posting.
Problematic?
Now, I'm gonna fast forward a little bit to one point that kind of really grinded my gears.
It just seems so odd to me that out of every avenue she gets money from, you decide to go after this Warner Brothers video game that she's not even involved with. But I think I know why.
Regardless of the amount of royalties she gets, she still gets royalties. Can we stop? Can we stop with this bad faith framing of this real quick? She's not even involved with the game, bro. It's Harry Potter belongs to her. So anything that is Harry Potter related that is made, whether she directly makes it or not, she gets money from. So she is involved, right? Okay. Can we stop with this bad faith framing real quick? I understand what people are saying, but like, she is making money off of it. So,
because it's easier. You get out of bed, pajamas on, go right onto your keyboard.
I mean, it's literally correct. I think this person, I don't know anything about their background. I don't know about their perspective, their political perspective, but it's true. It is correct.
And type in Harry Potter game bad, therefore I'm a good person. At some point, these movements always get hijacked by disingenuous individuals trying to look like the good guy for some type of purpose or validation. It's much harder work to get off your ass and go down there to Orlando or California and boycott Universal or Legos, or go to Japan and boycott Nintendo, because guess what? She has contracts with them too. The humongous parts of her income y'all just overlook. The ones that could potentially actually make real change, you just overlook because it's easier to attack this game.
So real quick, big problem with that. Okay, that's a bullshit framing. Okay, that's really dumb. I still fundamentally disagree. This is not bad faith. Elon Musk is one step away from being a Nazi, and by the same logic, trans people, by merely being on Twitter. Yeah, no. Here's the thing, okay? So I'm not made of money, okay? Twitter, owned by Elon Musk or not, is still one of the biggest social media platforms. And it has had a litany of history associated with it when it comes down to very important news or events, dropping viral videos of things that otherwise probably wouldn't be reported on if people weren't made aware as they would be by things blowing up on Twitter like they have since its conception. This is why so many Black Lives Matter related events have happened. That's why, like, you know, I mean, I think it was Oyemi that pointed out, like, yo, Twitter has been a monumental tool for social justice, because there have been so many times when, like, you know, innocent unarmed black men have been killed in the hands of police that probably would not be reported or very minutely, briefly touched on if it wasn't for the fact that a fucked up video of it happening or something from someone's iPhone didn't go viral on Twitter. You know what I mean? So Twitter and other social media platforms can be used for that, okay? And no different for trans people, okay? This is why, I mean, for fuck's sake, this is why we're even having this discourse in the first place, right? So, with that being said, again, I'm not made of money. So, I fucking pay my rent, I pay my electric bill, my gas bill, I pay for my groceries, I pay for my internet, my phone, fucking gas in my car, the whole 9 yards. Maybe I can't afford to go to Orlando. Maybe I can't afford to go to California. Maybe I can't afford a fucking plane trip to Japan to directly protest outside of their headquarters. Like, maybe I can't fucking do that. Maybe a lot of people can't. Maybe, like, the top 1% of the social and economic hierarchy in this country stole a collective of $50 trillion since the eve of World War II, mainly since 1975 from the bottom 90% of the working class, that would, if like spread out, would result in $151,515.15 for every single American citizen in this country if given back right now in one lump sum. 6 figures immediately. I need people to understand here, there's a lot of fucking poor people. Should we be dono-walled? Should we be paywalled from having opinions? No. I don't think anyone here would ever think that. So the fact that I'm too poor to go to Orlando, too poor to go to California, too poor to go to Japan, too poor probably even to make the signs, and don't have enough time to make the signs because I got to put food on my table, right, and feed my cats. Yes, it's an easier alternative to go to social media and complain about it, because that's all people have time or money to be able to do. Like, if that wasn't the case and we could just like take off work out of nowhere and just take a road trip to fucking Universal or Legos, you know, and protest, maybe a lot more people would. But we can't. It's just not a factor of life in the United States under capitalism. It's not, that's so unrealistic. So this is ultimately a dumb fucking point. You can't do that. Oh, it's easier to go to your keyboard to be a keyboard warrior. First of all, only right-wingers say that shit. Why are you talking for them? Number one. Number two, you can't afford to. You don't have the time to. Don't pretend like anyone else could.
For making bad commercial Mino-like, destroyed some of their personal property and started the hashtag Burn Your Nikes and tried to start a boycott. Our sound man just cut the Nike swoosh off his socks. Former Marine, get ready Nike, multiply that by the millions. Looks like he's never used scissors before. Nah, he was just so wound up, he didn't take time. It's a wonder he didn't cut himself. You think we'll roll over on shit like this? My troop friend was so mad at his socks, he couldn't even...
Not only am I burning my favorite pair of Nikes, you are burning your sales.
You think that's gonna happen? Over here, in reality, these bizarre, property-immolating protests against Nike for daring to feature a man who said police brutality was bad made everyone want to talk about Nike and how cool they were being and make fun of these people for days on end. Nike was being given hundreds of millions of dollars of free advertising by people trying to punish them.
Yeah, this is the same argument I made. This is like literally in the beginning of my first video on this whole ordeal. Like, I literally made that argument when it comes down to boycotts, that like, if anything, you're just giving more attention, controversial attention, to the brand that you're protesting, right? Yeah, I made that same point, which is why I don't think boycotts work, right? That wasn't really the point of the video, though. So Iron Mouse, another member of V Shoujo, had this to say about the Silvervale harassment and the backlash from her playing Hogwarts Legacy.
I've been processing and digesting stuff that's been going on these past few days, and here's what I have to say. I think that everybody is entitled to their opinion.
Everyone is entitled to their own opinion. Okay, here's a problem. True. But some people's opinions is that, like, white people are supreme. That's some people's opinions. They're not good opinions. They're actually quite destructive opinions. And they shouldn't happen. And they shouldn't be allowed. Sorry.
And I think that everybody is entitled to support whatever the they want to support. And you know what? That's on you, whatever you want to support. However, I believe that no one deserves to be harassed. True. And no one deserves to be attacked. True. And no one deserves to be bullied. And no one deserves to feel threatened. No one deserves to live in fear every day of their life.
True.
That is not right. And I think there's a lot of positive ways to get a message across without having to make somebody feel bad.
Okay, but like, should we make Nazis feel bad? That's my counter argument. Is it okay to make Nazis feel bad for the way that they are? Is it okay to make transphobes feel bad for being transphobes? Like, is that acceptable? Because if it's not, then I'm sorry, you're not an ally. Like, I don't know what else to tell you. Like I get what she's trying to say, and again, I don't expect apolitical people, at least I believe to be apolitical. Who knows behind the scenes, right? But I believe her to be apolitical, and so I don't expect her to like truly think everything all the way through, but like it really doesn't, I'm gonna come off like a cunt when I say this, but it does not take that much brain power to like come up with the arguments I just put forward. Like it doesn't take many more brain cells than two, rubbing them together, to realize that like, hey, maybe some bad people deserve to feel bad for being bad people. I know, revolutionary thought, right? All I require if you play Hogwarts Legacy is if you make it clear that you hate J.K. See, okay, now there's the fucking connection right there. Thank you. The point of the first video, okay? 1 was to criticize Silvervale for some of the dumb shit she was saying, okay? 2, to point out that boycotts don't work. I mean, obviously, we tried that. It boosted up its attention, actually, which backfired. And so people resorted to harassment, even doxing. Again, not okay. And like, that's just gonna make it worse. The point of the video, for people who aren't clear, is please don't play the game. This is why I think you shouldn't. That was it. That was literally the whole fucking thing. In case anyone is confused on it, that was the point, okay? I'm not saying, like, I'm not making it illegal for you to. I'm just saying, like, hey, these are probably some things you should consider if you're considering playing Hogwarts Legacy. And that I personally think that it's a little bit of a moral and ethical fucking compromise. A compromise of principles. You know, a compromise of civil and human rights. A compromise of humanization by supporting a game, which is a part of an IP that was made by someone who thinks that those same people who deserve civil and human rights and deserve to be humanized are being dehumanized and devalued by the maker of the IP. Thus resulted in the making of this game. Like, I hope that's not too hard for people to understand. To me, it's... I don't understand how no one could understand that. Play it if you want to play it. Play it as a Harry Potter fan. But please, if you are a streamer, make it very fucking clear, hey, fuck J.K. Rowling, okay? Like, cause like, at this point it's too late. At this point it's too late. She made her buck. The sales and the proceeds, the income that she's made off of the game, which apparently mainly went to Avalanche, whatever, but she did get royalties. She probably thinks she's vindicated and validated now in her transphobia. We lost this one. So it's too late at this point. So if you're gonna play it, whatever, just fucking enjoy it as a Harry Potter fan. But like, just be aware. And I think that's the other point of it too. Like, at this point, being apolitical is being on the sidelines and witnesses to crimes against humanity. Whether it's a fucking video game or legislation that says trans-affirming healthcare should be banned. Or further than that, what I believe to be coming next, a trans holocaust. Shy Lily is an indie VTuber that I love very much, but here's the result of being an apolitical fucking entertainer who doesn't understand the implications of things that seem little that could trickle down into more fucked up events happening.
Hey Lily, are you going to play Hogwarts Legacy? And if you are, what house do you believe you belong in?
I wanna play Harry Potter, but Twitter once again full of absolute dumbasses. Apparently, what's the name, J.K. Rowling or something, has like very poor takes on certain. Correct me if I'm wrong, but apparently J.K. Rowling has very poor takes on a certain member of society.
Just say trans people. Just say trans people. Don't act coy. What are you doing? It's either she genuinely has no fucking idea, which is a problem, or she knows and is trying to pick her words carefully and is just like sanitizing the whole thing under a guise of ignorance. J.K. Rowling apparently has some bad takes on a certain demographic. No. J.K. Rowling wants trans people to die. See, now that right there isn't like, because it just comes off as like just hiding what's going on. Now, if you genuinely don't know what's going on, and thus you say J.K. Rowling apparently has some bad takes on a certain, member of society, then like, you have some clue, but you weren't interested enough to look into further, which is a problem. That kind of says something about some internal biases. Maybe that's a reason why we went over microaggressions at the beginning of this fucking video. Maybe there's some kind of subconscious bias there that you need to look at. Number one. Number two, being apolitical at this time is super disadvantageous for people who are being affected negatively directly by politics. Politics is boring. Politics is boring. Politics has... it's just, I just don't find it interesting. It just doesn't speak to me, I just don't find it interesting. Oh, you don't find it interesting, bitch? Oh, you find it boring, huh? Okay. So what you mean is the very mechanism that is responsible for everything you fucking take for granted, you find boring and disinteresting. Imagine if someone signed a law. VTubers are banned. It's like catfishing. They scramble some words around and they say some shit like, it's false advertising. It's fraudulent. Misrepresentation of identity. VTubers banned. They're now illegal. Oh, I bet you'd be interested then, wouldn't you? But when it comes down to other stuff that doesn't affect you directly, politics is just boring and just uninteresting. I'm not going to tell anyone what to do about their beliefs or what to do with their lives. Why not? Why not? You cannot be ignorant of this. There are people in this world who think that white supremacy is the way to go. That's the answer. That black people are subhuman. That the LGBTQIA+, they're degenerates who are destroying the Western world, trying to indoctrinate and groom our kids into pedophilia. That's what these people are saying. But politics is disinteresting and boring. Stop being apolitical. We're in a pivotal moment. And not just American history, I feel like world history at this point. We're at a pivotal fulcrum where it's one way or the fucking other. And if we choose wrong, a lot of people are gonna fucking die. Tomorrow, next week, next month, next decade. Eventually. a lot of people are going to fucking die. Because some people think that other people are not worthy of being treated like people. So I'm glad that you like to use an avatar of a big titty anime waifu. Okay? That's great for a lot of us. People are gonna die. Use this, grow this, learn some shit, because you might be part of an instrumental moment in human history. A moment that could be looked back on 80 years from now like we look back 80 years ago at World War II. Shy Lily is fucking German. The problem with this entire controversy is that Hassan had planned weeks in advance to run a donation stream to trans causes, but canceled it because he was getting harassment. A charity stream that could have gotten trans charities millions, and Jesse Gender praised Hassan for abandoning the charity. Jesse Gender is just kind of fucking dumb. That would have benefited her. From my point of view, that is a betrayal of allyship to the trans community. So, like, there definitely would have been ways to weaponize the transphobic or originated IP video game for trans causes, right? There, that absolutely, honestly, it would have been a funny and ironic. It's just being intellectually lazy. Yeah. Read a fucking Wikipedia article or a book. I really like her, but her takes recently are a big cringe. I know. I was just watching Shy Lily the other day. I was prepping for this fucking segment, and I was watching her, and I had this video in mind while I was watching her live stream Dead Space, and I was just like, it's different now. You know? Not like vastly fucking different, but it's just like, I think I have this in mind while also looking back to when the pandemic was at its worst. And there was just this fucking 40, almost 50 day fucking subathon that she did. And it was like a really memorable time during the pandemic, you know? And it was just like, Jesus Christ, dude. Like, just think for more than 2 seconds on shit, please. For fuck's sake.
I don't understand why one would boycott a game that has no attachment to her whatsoever.
Royalties, stop propagating the really dumb fucking point that isn't true.
Because of her bad takes. The jobs and future of thousands of people that worked on it are connected to that game and the hard work they have put into it. Those people want to put this game onto their resume and have it be a successful game for an absolute brighter future. So now because of one person having views and being an absolute L underscore, people aren't gonna play the game? That's dumb. But at the same time, I am risking my streaming career for...
Okay, so obviously this is coming from a self-centered point of view, because it might negatively affect me and negatively affect this career that I have cultivated for me and my community. I'm not going to play the game. It's kind of like what my sponsor told me about, like, living a life of recovery, where it's like, you know, you can't think your way into right living, but you can live your way into right thinking, right? Sometimes you just have to do the thing and the mind will follow, rather than think the thing and the body will follow. Sometimes you just have to do the thing, fake it till you make it kind of thing, right? So I'm not going to fault her entirely for that, but, like, let's call it out for what it is. That's a selfish fucking intention, okay? It's a selfish motive. Thousands of people worked on this game, and they want to put this on their resume, because of one person being fucked up, that might jeopardize... Wow. Imagine having a cataclysmically anti-human opinion on an entire group of people, how that could affect other people's livelihoods, how that could ripple out into other people's lives. It's just interesting. It's just, you know, just something to think about, you know. Just, you know, maybe don't be a piece of fucking shit if you have a large platform. You know what I'm saying? Maybe, as Paradigm Shift once said, this is why we need to make better people famous.
It is absolutely horrendously next level stupid. It's the same as being a teacher at a school and the principal does something up and people boycott the whole school and unemploy multiple teachers and janitors and everyone involved. It's just...
Okay, I mean, that's actually not that bad of a comparison. Yeah, okay, you know, okay, fair.
Dumb, it's stupid. That person...
But then again, maybe they shouldn't have hired the principal.
People don't play the game to support her views, obviously. Believe it or not everyone spends and wastes the majority of their life on a Twitter drama. It doesn't matter that people have been paid. It's the success and exposure attached to the work they have done that can potentially change thousands of people's future for the better. But people are so stuck in their own...
So, okay. What about trans people's resumes? What about their livelihoods? Twitter drama. Okay, but like, if you're a trans person and you're just like wanting to scroll through Twitter and be like, oh, that's a cute cat. Oh, that's a cute cat. Oh, that's a cute cat. And then J.K. Rowling comes up and says, you shouldn't exist. Like, you might have a bad fucking day. And if that's every fucking day... come the fuck on here. Once again, yes, she has made money from it. Stop with the whole, she's not even attached to the title. Yeah, she is. Maybe not like, she's not the programmer, she's not the director, she's not the whatever, she's not in Avalanche Software, but it's her fucking IP. Stop with this dumb fucking art. She's not even attached to it. Yeah, she is. Nuxtaku had a very fair take on this, actually.
Harry Potter and the Forbidden Game. I'm not surprised Donkey's touching this. He makes videos that get him in trouble on Twitter all the time. For those of you that are unaware of the drama, J.K. Rowling has had some relatively iffy tweets in the past. She managed to anger everyone. She managed to anger the woke crowd and the anti-woke crowd. She's angered the woke crowd by saying after the Harry Potter series ended, yeah, but Dumbledore was actually always gay, and I always included him. Oh, yeah, and Hermione was always black, even though it says in the book, and Hermione's pale face was blah, 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 right? So she always angered the non-woke crowd, and she also angered the woke crowd, because she was, like, saying, you know, trans women aren't women type things. So she did that, and then she also had, like, all these other dramas where she based the goblins in Gringotts off Jews. So, as we know, the goblins look a lot like the Nazi propaganda of what Jews look like, with the hooked noses, they love money, they operate the underground world, all that, like, all the anti-Semitic tropes. And here's the wildest one. In the Harry Potter movie, in the middle of the floor, there's a Star of David. It's like, okay, you can't say that, oh yeah, the goblins, the fact that they're, you know, these short, money-hungry people, and you know, they have hooked noses, and they kind of look like the Nazi propaganda of Jews, and you know, it's like, yeah, it's all coincidences. And then you just see the Star of David in the middle of the floor. And it's like, yeah, you can't unsee that anymore. It would be hard to call it a coincidence once there's so many similarities to it. But anyway, not the point. The point is, a new game came out, Hogwarts Legacy, and obviously, all the money that goes to that funds J.K. Rowling. So there has been quite a massive drama about it online. A lot of people have been getting into quite a lot of heat about it. People saying it's okay to play it because, look, we support all sorts of people. Look, I watch Hollywood movies. There are tons of pedophiles in Hollywood, so I'm supporting all those pedophiles by watching the movies. What's the difference between that and this game where you're making a billionaire richer? There are many sides to it.
That is kind of a fair take.
Anybody, that will not make anything better. That is my take. The don't harass people take. Anyway, I think that's the most based of takes. And Donkey just made a video. Harry Potter.
Yeah, Donkey, by the way, made a really fucking funny video. This is where this is fucked up. This is just fucked up right here, okay?
I know. I was a little bit late, but I was looking at Twitter and getting angry. I was looking at Twitter and getting angry. Muted? No, I'm not. No, I'm not. I'm not muted. Classic, yeah. Silvervale? Yeah, the Silvervale shit. People are fucking assholes. Not Silvervale. Silvervale's not the asshole. The fucking people going after her are, and I hope they all fucking kill themselves.
Word. That's a take to have. Huh. Okay. That's the take you want to have on that. That's the take you want to have on that. Okay. All right. So that's the take you want to have on that. Okay. Okay. So like maybe okay. Are trans people a monolith? No. Was it just trans people who asked for the boycott of J.K. Rowling and Hogwarts Legacy and Harry Potter? No. But some of those people who we were saying to themselves are people like this.
In less than 24 hours, I will be going on a plane to go to a consultation for SRS, or sexual reassignment surgery, which is planned to be taking place in a little over a year. I see this as my final step into the body that I should have been born into. This bill threatens to not only bar me from receiving this care, but also from accessing the hormones that have single-handedly not only improved, but saved my life.
What do you mean by saved your life? Not just improved, but saved your life?
I mean, okay, so before I went on testosterone blockers and then estrogen, I was in like the worst mental state of my life because I saw going through male puberty as this irreversible and horribly terrifying thing that would stop me from being able to live the life that I should have been able to, you know? And so it was absolutely horrifying. And I truly do believe that I would have ended up killing myself if I wasn't able to access that.
Michael, a lot of people who testified pointed out the conflict between the bill and Republican lawmakers' statements on other matters of support for parental rights and freedom. One GOP state lawmaker said that Idaho law says some choices are abusive or inappropriate, even for a parent. How do you respond to that?
It's really hard, honestly. I mean, we live in a state that values parental rights and religious freedom, yet the authors of this bill make it really clear that the only parental rights they are in favor of are those that they agree with, and religious freedom, the only thing they agree with is beliefs that they agree with. So as a family of faith and as parents who take parenting seriously, I never thought the state of Idaho would be our biggest enemy and trying to step between us and our kids in raising them.
So, Eve, one of the arguments you hear from opponents of body-altering treatments is that they should wait until you're an adult, 18. Why are they wrong?
Well, because you can't wait until you're an adult, because for the vast majority of trans kids, they won't be adults without this treatment. I wouldn't have made it past like 14 if I didn't have that treatment.
Because you would take your own life, is what you mean?
Yeah.
So, Michael, your daughter started estrogen about 3 years ago. Where do you think she would be right now if she had not had access to this treatment? And what is your message to the people watching right now who don't understand, who don't get it?
Well, let me start with that. I didn't get it either. I didn't understand right away either. And so I totally get it. But I would say to them, let's not make understanding a prerequisite for loving people and allowing them to live the lives that they feel led to live. But I don't think any of us can understand what Eve's going through, but Eve can understand what I'm going through as a parent or an adult or a physical therapist. So I think that isn't as big of a deal as we make it.
And Eve, this bill would subject physicians to felony charges if they provide puberty blockers or hormone treatments or gender-affirming surgeries to transgender minors. You've been treated by physicians with some of those treatments. Are you worried about physicians in Idaho?
I'm terrified. Yeah. It would be absolutely devastating, not only to me, but to so many other trans people living in Idaho, so many trans kids living in Idaho, and so many physicians who just want to be able to give their patients these treatments that have been, legal for so long and that are tested and proven to work.
Jake, if I may, this is evidence-based medicine we're talking about. And the witnesses that the proponents of this bill brought in were really fringy characters that were literally suggesting things that flew completely in the face of the AMA and the American Academy of Pediatrics. I mean, this is a skilled group. I think they probably could have found astronauts against space travel if they'd looked hard enough. And the thing of it is, that's setting the standard of care in Idaho to be fringy, as opposed to evidence-based medicine, which my wife, who's a physician, and I love our kids too much to subject them to fringy medicine.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the things that comes across, and there's certainly debates that can be had about girls' athletics and things like that, but when it comes to the cruelty that we see in this debate so often, the meanness about some of the most vulnerable people in our society, it's really just remarkable and not how any faith teaches us to behave.
Yeah, I think it's interesting that you brought that up, because the reason why people are subjecting kids like me, trans kids, to this this harsh antagonism is because we are the most vulnerable group right now that are okay to attack. Because, you know, before it was trans kids, it was gay kids. For that, it was gay adults. And so as those things have become more normalized, they can't attack that group anymore.
It's a smart cookie right there. Props to the father for raising a smart kid. But, you know, we got people who think this.
I hope they all fucking kill themselves.
They already are. Like we're talking about someone who made a game that who said shit like this.
Dress however you please, call yourself whatever you like, sleep with any consenting adult who will have you, live your best life in peace and security, but force women out of their jobs for stating that sex is real. I stand with Maya. This is not a drill.
And she's had an awful lot of backlash to that herself.
A lot of backlash, yes.
And much more. And much more. Out of just complete ignorance as to what sex and gender are. And just a complete anti-freedom sentiment completely based on trans people icky. That's all it is. It's the same shit with the fucking gay panic. Guys are banging each other. Oh my god. Oh my goodness. Fucking penises just slipping and slapping all over each other. It's just not totally giving me an erection at all. We're talking about a person who wrote Harry Potter, that ended up being movies, and now it's an open world video game. And people were just like, oh, it's just a game, it's just a game, just a game, just a game. And the same maker of the IP is friends with people like this.
The Trans Lives Matter protesters decided to occupy the Oklahoma Capitol building to fight GOP bills that ban gender-conforming surgery for people that are under the age of 21. So, of course, that should be banned if you are under the age of 21. You should not be. Honestly, you should never be allowed. I would go a little further. Oklahoma, if you really want to do something, just ban it altogether. But trans people were very upset, and they decided to storm the Capitol building. Take a look.
This is storming the Capitol building.
I have such great contempt for trans individuals and everything that they are doing right now in our society. To me, I've yet to meet a trans person that I thought was a good individual. Go ahead, you can use that clip verbatim, circulate it, George Soros and your goons, because somebody needs to say it. This has gone on far enough, right? They are hateful, narcissistic human beings. It's very obvious that they hate women, that they are misogynists at their core. I'm talking about men that put on lipstick and say, not only that they're a woman, mocking us to our faces, saying, I'm a woman, I'm just like you, I can do whatever you want, but then taking it a step further in their misogyny and demanding rights to things that we have, right? Saying, not only am I you, I'm a better version of you. I will crush you in your sports. I will do everything that I can to ruin your career. If you think that there's something wrong with this, a la what's happened to J.K. Rowling and people demanding.
Pause it, because I was about.
Okay, so we get the point there. First of all, when it comes down to trans people, trans women specifically, and women's sports, maybe get good, sweaty. Practice more, number one. Number two, you know, some trans women are better than you. I mean, look at Finister. Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, wait. Finister's he, him. That's right. Not even a trans woman. Wow. Look at that. Look at that. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Listen, everything is political. Can we get this out of the fucking way real quick? Everything is political. Everything. There is no escaping politics. Okay? There's no escaping it. Okay? Because there's this. You wonder why we went over microaggressions at the beginning of this segment? Acts of bias, jokes, rumors, stereotyping, non-inclusive language, and insensitive remarks. We saw plenty of examples of those at the beginning. Acts of prejudice, social avoidance, ridicule, name-calling, bullying, slurs, and dehumanization. Acts of discrimination, economic, employment, educational, political or housing discrimination, and segregation. Then it moves on to acts of bias-motivated violence, such as threats, assault, rape, murder, arson, terrorism, vandalism, and desecration, and then genocide. The act or intent of deliberately and systematically annihilating an entire people. I would add one more layer to this, because I feel like more often than not, the first layer of this pyramid is preceded by one more. Not a big dealism. I think it's really dangerous for us to view things through the lens of not a big dealism, because then that just paves the way for, you know, making racist jokes, sexist jokes, objectifying women, you know, saying that trans women aren't women, saying that it's gross for two men to kiss. Because that leads to the first layer of this. When that type of behavior and those types of thoughts are normalized. Is it just a game? Yes. But just a game can lead to disregarding the opinions and concerns of those who might not want you to play the game, because the game is based off of a series of films, which is based off of a series of books written by someone who thinks that you, as a trans woman, mainly trans women, never see her go after men, but trans women, who think shouldn't exist. Who think shouldn't exist. Play Hogwarts Legacy if you want, whatever. It really, you know, it's your choice at the end of the day, okay? To you, it's probably just a game. To you, it's just Harry Potter. To you, it's just nostalgia to a better time in your childhood. And if that is what it is to you, fine. But when I say fence sitting and apolitical attitudes towards things like this don't work anymore, what I mean is, if you're going to play it, at least be aware of what playing it, supporting it, and thus supporting the person who started it in the first place, J.K. Rowling, means to the people that she thinks, yet again, should not exist. It's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. Not to Brianna J. Not to Brianna J. It's a pretty big fucking deal. This shit should not be fucking normalized. All I'm asking is for you to be more considerate. That's it. To think harder, think deeper, think more critically, and do the same, not just with your brain, but with your heart. It's not that tall of an order.